Top 5 Russian helmet reviewed by a veteran. Here is an interesting review of Russian helmet that I found. I have gathered this information from an actual current Russian combatant. SSH-68. The acronym stands for Steel Helmet, and not for Sergei Shoigu as many might think. This used to be the main helmet of the People's Militia, forcefully mobilized citizens of the Donetsk and Luhansk areas. Since the beginning of full-scale mobilization in Russia itself, most of the so-called Mobiks, aka immobilized, received these steel helmets along with the other Soviet-style pack, fake leather belt, gas mask, magazine pouch and AK. This is no surprise, as millions of these helmets were produced in the Soviet era, so it is unlikely that the war will last for long enough to run out of them. Overall, it is a shit helmet for the 21st century. It can be successfully used to dig a trench or cook dinner in it. Sometimes it will prevent your head from being smashed by debris and microshrapnel. So the only advantage of this helmet is that it is better than having nothing at all. 6B7 and 6B7-1. These helmets were introduced to the Army in the early 2000s. They are made from aramid fabric, robust, reliable and quite comfortable. However, in 2000s they were produced in small numbers, basically just for a show-off. Back in the day they were issued to some of those regiments which were located in Moscow so that the generals could report that the army was equipped to the modern standards. These were also issued to so-called Russian peacekeepers. But they were never produced in huge numbers. It is nearly impossible to obtain this helmet in sufficient quantities now, so their application is limited. But if you got one for yourself, consider yourself lucky. 6B47 aka Ratnik. 6B47, aka the Ratnik helmet, the favorite helmet of American airsofters. Ironically, they are probably better equipped with these helmets than Russian Army. Anyway, at the beginning it was an overall perfect helmet at its early iterations. It used to have really good characteristics when it was produced in the 2010s. Same or similar to most NATO-grade Kevlar helmets. The aramid fabric was impregnated with phenol formaldehyde resin at this time. Because of it, the helmet was heavier but more rigid. Early iterations of these helmets managed to stop shrapnel and pistol bullets, and if you were lucky with the angle of the impact, it could even deflect an AK bullet. After the innovation, the phenol formaldehyde impregnation stage was dropped. The helmet didn't necessarily lose its bullet-stopping abilities. However, as may be seen on many videos on the web, the helmet became much more vulnerable to deformation. This means that shrapnel or a bullet will deform the helmet sufficiently to crack the skull, so the penetration wouldn't even matter at this point. Oh, well, at least you will be buried with your head more or less intact. It is unclear when these helmets became soft, but it seems that this production stage was dropped before the big war started. And this is quite ironic, as Russian industry managed to screw up even this cheap and reliable helmet. Just like they did with AK-12. Anyhow, this helmet is still better than a steel helmet, so hold on to it if you were lucky enough to receive it. Chinese helmets. These are usually bought from AliExpress or a similar platform. Can be made from aramid or UHMW, ultra-high molecular polyethylene. Chinese-made UHMW helmets are not recommended because of the incredibly high deformation on impact, similar to 6B47. Note that they still offer better protection than Soviet steel helmets. The aramid helmets from China are not bad. Well, it depends. Make sure that you shoot one from each shipment for testing. On top of that, make sure that you get a copy of the PASK or MICH helmet. Ops Corps is not designed for this war, the usage of artillery is insane, you need maximum protection. Also note that you can mistake an airsoft helmet for a real one when dealing with Chinese products. Kolpak 20, the most Russian helmet. This is a fantastic invention by a fantastic NPO-SM. I honestly don't understand how these people are not prosecuted for fraud. Anyway, to make a Kolpak 20, you take the legendary SSH-68 helmet, put some aramid on top, place the night vision goggles attachment, like if the army had any to issue, put some comforting pads inside, and here is a modern helmet. The producer claims that it can stop a pistol round. Well, I really hope that he will have a chance to test it one day. Anyhow, this helmet is probably still better than the regular SSH-68 helmet. But it is so heavy that it becomes almost useless under current conditions when you need to wear your helmet on at all times. If you are not a helmet fan, there is another option for you. You can say, well, I don't need a fucking helmet, I was in Syria and didn't wear one there. Good luck then.